Okay, so now we're starting the iteration section of chapter 9. We're about to show you how to apply all of those concepts and rules and principles that we've taught you in the previous chapters. Those were the seeds, those were the foundation. Now it's time to apply them. Now, I hope you took the time to really go back and get familiar with all the different terms that we threw at you, because you're going to start to need them now. If you are new to this channel and you are not a part of the cohort, this curriculum is free. You can click on the link in the description and you can follow along if you like. Of course, I encourage you to share this information with anyone thinking about getting into coding. It's a great resource that LaunchCode has made available to us. So, without further ado, let's get into the curriculum. Okay, so now we are introducing to you today iterations. It says here, when repeating the same action over and over again, a human is likely to make a mistake. Computers, however, possesses the incredible ability to carry out repetitive tasks without making mistakes. To see this, let's consider an appropriate, if somewhat contrived example. Suppose you want to print out the integers 0 through 50. With the tools you currently have at your disposal, your program will look like this. So we have console.log 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you want to see what that looks like, come over here. I want you to right click on inspect, click on console. Let's clear that out. We're going to copy this to the clipboard, click in there, right click it, paste it in the code. Now, I'm going to get rid of the comment because we don't need that. And I'm going to hit enter. See what it did? Console logged out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, what you would expect. And notice that it's going in the sequence from top to bottom. There's a way to do it to where you get it to console log 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a sequence going horizontally. But we'll talk about that more later. Again, play with the code. Like we said, go up to 50 if you like and see what happens. Now, not only is this highly repetitive, but it also error prone. Even if utilizing copy-paste functionality, the sheer volume of code makes it somewhat likely that we will make a simple mistake, such as skipping an integer or misspelling console. The code is also hard to modify. If we want to make a conceptual, simple change, such as printing all the way to 100, are only printing even numbers, then we are forced to update an immense amount of code. Programming languages provide tools that allow us to repeat a sequence of statements in a much simpler way. Repeated execution of a sequence of statements is called iteration. Here's a word that you need to get familiar with. This chapter explores two mechanisms that JavaScript provides to make iteration simple and flexible: the for and the while loops. We're going to get used to those, or introduce those to you. To give you a taste of what's to come, here is how we could write the program above using a for loop. All right, look at the syntax here. This right here is why we say do not memorize syntax, because here's some information in this syntax that if you just memorize this syntax, if I give you a different way or a different scenario, It will confuse you. What we want you to do is understand what we are, again, saying, what we're talking about here, and understand what it is doing. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up my inspector tool, come over here to the console, clear this out. I'm going to make that bigger for you. I apologize in the previous videos if you weren't able to see this, but I'm getting better as I continue to create these videos. So here I'm going to paste this in. As you can see, we have this for loop. And let's look at the construction of it. And I'm going to go over it more in depth as we go further. But what I want you to see here is that we are initializing another variable here, but it's called I. Now, in the past, I've told you you need to be descriptive in creating your variables. In this case, this is a convention. We all use it this way. And I is short for index. You can actually type index here, and because it's a variable. But remember, now we got three things going on here, and I'm going to explain it more as we go further into the lesson. But right now, I want you to see what will happen if I hit enter. It printed all of the numbers from 0 to 50. And you may be wondering, but wait a minute, you have I less than 51. Why? What happened? How come it didn't print 51? I will share with that later on why that is. But let's finish. We will explore the details of this syntax shortly, but it's worth taking a moment to marvel at the simplicity of this program compared to the one above. See, I had to go here and create console.logs. In order to get the same result, I would have had to create 50 of these in order to get the result I was looking for this little piece of code that's on 3 lines. Here, I would have had to create over 50 lines. And this right here is more efficient. And we're going to talk about how to make our code more efficient. But first, let's finish up this chapter or this section. It may seem odd to you that this loop uses the integer 51, but only prints up to 50. Why is this the case? Will become clear in the next section. Learning about iteration using loops is also an opportunity to introduce one of the most widely known mnemonic devices in programming. Don't repeat yourself, or dry. You're going to hear this a lot. Get familiar with it. Understand what it means. A common piece of advice from instructors and experienced programmers is that you should keep your code dry. We're going to learn how. So, with that being said, we are now at the end of this section, and what we're going to do is we're going to go further on in learning about loops. We're just giving you a quick little introduction on iteration. So without further ado, we're going to go into the next section. But remember, the more you do, the more you improve. See you in the next section.